Yeah.
You want to like him, but you can't.
Are you listening?
What?
Are you listening?
Did you bring me on this show to insult me?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all don't want it with us, man. We straight gangsters over here,
Straight
man.
gangsters. Yeah, it is Wednesday, October 17th, and you are listening to the Scout Team, bringing you Scout Team Sports. I am one of your gracious hosts. They call me Loudbeard.
You are the most egotistical, self-deluded person I have ever met.
And that is all true. And the man on the other mic, he's known as the Great Patriot. He is a little bit of America and a lot of bit of America.
Yeah, it's your boy Chris America coming to you live this Wednesday, hump day, and every single weekday from 6 to 7. That's the live show. The replay is at 11, and some Wednesday nights we do it again at 7:30. How you doing, Loudbeard?
Man, I'm doing great. Yeah, you called it Hump Day. You remember when those camels had that commercial? Hump Day?
Hump
That
day.
was like a hot thing for a hot minute, man. Everybody at work, everybody everywhere, that Hump Day thing, man, everywhere.
Yeah, so we, the adults, did it for about a week, and then we're like, okay, that was fun. But the kids, man, if you ever ask a teacher, the kids would be doing it for an entire school year, every single Wednesday. Hump Day!
It's like the old Budweiser, what's up?
What's up?
I think we need to bring that back. I feel like we need to go back in time. We'll take our time machine one of these days, go back in time and just pull out all the really awesome commercials that were like, what, this past year was Dilly Dilly. That came back.
Yep.
Every year there's one that like is almost infectious that everybody just starts like repeating and repeating and repeating. We need to bring like our top 10. Or maybe we could do that for our draft on Friday. Who knows? I'm just spitballing here. This is Crazy Wednesday. It's Wacky Wednesday, and I'm just spitballing.
Wednesday on Scout Team Radio.
Yeah. But we need to go back in time, bring back all those great commercials because it is a What's Up Wednesday. It is a Hump Day Wednesday. It is a Scout Team Wednesday.
We can definitely do that before the Super Bowl. We could do a Throwback Thursday or Time Machine Thursday where we just listen to a whole bunch of old Super Bowl ads. That would be good times, man. I love being nostalgic, but forget about all that right now. Let's live in the present, Loudbeard, and we had another great night of baseball. The Red Sox, it was a close game up until, I can't remember if it was the 6th or the 7th, but they loaded the bases, and then they just hit the grand slam and slammed the door shut on the Astros at home. I don't think anybody saw that coming.
Yeah, Jackie Bradley Jr. with the huge grand slam, doing it over there for the Red Sox. It is in Houston, so that's a home game for the Astros. And the Red Sox, man, they're looking good. They take the lead in the series. Astros, they got to bounce back tonight. Both the Astros and Red Sox and the Brewers Dodgers are both playing again tonight, so we've seen some more back-to-backs hitting it up here. So I'd like to see how the Astros react to this. You know, this was a big loss. It's 8-2. You lose with the other team hitting a grand slam and just scoring a bunch of runs on you. So the Astros need to take this loss, learn from it, and bounce back. I'd love to see what they come back with tonight because the Astros are a tough team. They're not a team that's just ready to roll over. They're very resilient. So I am going to predict, this is an early, bold, Loudbeard prediction, that the Astros are going to come out with a win tonight. They're going to even up the series and make this thing a back and forth. I think that both of these series that are going on right now are both going to go 7 games, Chris America, and I'm excited for it because we're seeing a lot of great baseball.
Yep, here's what the Grand Slam sounded like last night.
Bradley Jr., a high fly ball to right. Reddick is at the wall, can only watch. A grand slam. Jackie Bradley Jr., a knockout punch here in the 8th.
I feel like that volume was really low, so let me replay it.
Bradley Jr., a high fly ball to right. Reddick is at the wall, can only watch. A grand slam. Jackie Bradley Jr., a knockout punch here in the
A knockout punch in the eighth, indeed. You don't see that often where it's a close game, and then another team just opens it up. But we've seen that twice now where one team scored 4+ runs in the late innings of the game after it's been so close. But, man, you're right. I think they're both going to go 7 games. And last night's Brewers versus Dodgers didn't disappoint at all. And if you looked at the box score and saw 1-1 score and thought, oh, man, what a boring game, you couldn't be further from the truth. There was tons of great defensive plays. That game could have easily been like a 6-5 game, Loudbeard, if it wasn't for all of the defensive plays that they made out there. And Cody Bellinger came in the clutch on defense, and then he hit the walk-off single. He must have listened to Scout Team Sports yesterday morning and said, you know what, those guys are right. I am letting my team down. I am better than this. I am a superstar. I need to come out tonight and bring one in for my team. And he did a diving catch in the 8th inning, which was spectacular. And then in the 13th, he hits a dribbling single off to the right side, past the first baseman and second baseman. And the guy on second, I'd have to look back to see who that was. He flew to the home plate. It wasn't, like I said, it was a dribbling single out in the outfield, and it didn't even look like it got that deep. And the outfielder got to the ball fairly quickly, and by the time he was able to throw the ball, it was already too late. The guy from second came around the bases and scored. What a night in L.A.
Yeah, it was a big night, and the guy that came around and scored was Manny Machado. And
thank you, sir.
It's kind of ironic that he's the one that scored because the Brewers were not very happy with Machado after this game. I don't know if you saw this controversy, but in the 10th inning, Manny Machado's running out I believe it was a grounder. I'd have to go back and look at the play again. I can't remember exactly.
Yeah, it was a ground out to first.
And he's running down first baseline, and it looks like he's an easy out, and he does this little kick up and then catches Jesus Aguilar's leg, and all of a sudden the bench is clear. And when you look back at that replay, it looks like it was extremely intentional. And all of the Brewers players afterwards, especially Christian Yelich, who he right now is the face of the Brewers, he comes out and he says, this was a dirty play by a dirty player. And, they're not holding back. I mean, this is getting to be a little bit of a testy series. These teams are battling back and forth. I mean, a 13-inning game, you lose 2-1. You're already kind of emotionally drained from all of that goes into it. And when you see something like that, it just hits you hard. And, I mean, they're not holding back. They're not pulling any punches. They're going right after Manny Machado, and they're saying that this is a dirty player. We don't need this kind of dirty player in the MLB. And Machado's a big name, man, and this is crazy.
And they should be mad because we've played what now? Close to 170 games. This guy has run on the first baseline so many times and been out so many times on the first base that he knows that you run on the right side of the bag if you see that the play is coming. It wasn't like the first baseman was covering the plate completely. He had nowhere to go. He was doing what he was supposed to do. He had his foot on the bag, on the edge of the bag, and he just ran into him for no reason at all. Absolutely no reason for it. He should have run on the right side of the baseline and tagged the right side of the bag while not even coming close to hitting the first baseman.
Yeah, there's no place for this. Now, I get it in the heat of the moment. You're trying to get an advantage of some sort, or I don't know. I can't even make any excuses for him. I don't know what the mindset is there. I mean, obviously he's looking at it and saying, man, I need to do something here. I grounded out. I didn't help my team. We're in the 10th inning. So he's thinking, okay, let me, clip the first baseman for whatever reason. Maybe he's just trying to send a little signal over to the Brewers like, don't mess with me. I'm the dirty player. You need to know and respect that. And Brewers aren't standing for it. And, I don't think baseball should stand for it. I honestly think that there should be some repercussions for this. I haven't looked at any of the aftermath. I haven't seen if Major League's going to review this. But honestly, I think they should. I mean, if you're going to do that, it's a player safety issue. It's an integrity issue. It's a morality issue. I think it's a little bit of everything. And baseball doesn't need that, man. They need to be a little bit cleaner, a little bit better. And just like we were talking with Cody Bellinger, we needed him to be better. He came out and he was better. I need baseball to be better, and they need to address this issue with Machado. And, if it results in a game suspension, that wouldn't hurt my feelings. I would think that would be baseball stepping up. I don't know that they have the I'm going to say the balls to do that. I think baseball's afraid that, not having the big stars in the big games may hurt their ratings. So I don't know if they will, but I do think they need to redress this, and I think it needs to be a big deal. And to go back like with what you were saying with Bellinger, man, I can only say great things about him. You and we were both talking about how this guy needed to step up. We were expecting this guy to be a big part of the Dodgers this year. And honestly, I was disappointed with his season as a whole. It was good. It was above average, but it wasn't great. Well, this is the type of game that you start putting your name on. And when you start becoming clutch in the postseason, that's what escalates your career. That's what escalates your name. That's what escalates your team. And that's what Cody Bellinger did last night. I think he sat there, he looked at himself in the mirror after the loss the other night and said, man, I need to be a leader on this team. I need to show them that I'm here and that I'm going to carry them. And that's what he did, man. Great job by Cody Bellinger. He's a very young, talented player, and seeing him come out in the clutch, great to see that. But, Chris America, wow. Baseball is just heating up. I love it. This is like the best time of year for Major League Baseball. And these teams, they are not disappointing, my friend. They are not disappointing one bit.
Yeah, there is no doubt in my mind that Bellinger looked himself in the mirror with Scout Team Radio playing in the background, and he's like, I can't believe I let Loudbeard and Chris America down. I can't do it again. I got to do better. You are better than this. And the only excuse I can give for that first base snafu is maybe he thought if I clip him, he'll lose his concentration and drop the ball or take his eye off or something. I don't know, but a one-game suspension for that, that's tough, man. I get it. I can pick up what you're putting down on that. I would just have a hard time buying a full game suspension for something like that. It wasn't completely egregious, but I wouldn't be mad about it either if they did it to kind of send a message, say, hey, we want a clean game. You guys are two really good teams, and we don't want it to be won off of a dirty play. We don't want it to be won off of the fact that you did a dirty play. And let's say he stepped on his ankle and crushed it and injured him for the rest of the postseason. We don't want that. We don't want to have anybody injured because of dirty plays. So we're going to send the message loud and clear. We're not going to put up with it. You sit out a game and think about what you did. We'll send you to timeout, that kind of thing. So I can get on with that. But, man, lots of exciting baseball ahead and lots of exciting basketball. And we talked about how these four teams last night played, the Thunder and the Warriors, and then the Celtics and Sixers. And Warriors and Celtics kind of sent a message to the rest of the league that they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. We already knew about the Warriors. They've been sending that message loud and clear for the last 5 seasons. But the Celtics, man, Loudbeard, if I would have told you that Hayward and Kyrie Irving would be in single-digit scoring while Embiid and Simmons would be in double digits, I think 19 and 23 points, who would you assume won that game?
I would assume it would be the Celtics.
You would assume the Celtics would win if
I'm sorry, the Sixers. I'm sorry,
Yes.
You're right. But that is not the case, is it?
No, it's not. And you would definitely not assume that the Celtics would have blown out the Sixers with their leading guys. Like I said, so the leading scorers for where did they go? All right, so Embiid had 23, Redick had 16, and Simmons had 19, and they lost by 18 points.
Yeah. Okay. So this was an interesting game because you're right. The players that were supposed to step up for the Sixers, I felt like they stepped up, especially Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons had a great game because if you look at it, he's like 2 assists shy of a triple-double. He goes out there, he gets a ton of rebounds, he scores, he does his assists. He does exactly what he's supposed to do. That is his role as the point. He's basically a point center for the Philadelphia 76ers, and he goes out there and, man, he runs it. He's running the show good. And then Embiid gets the first points of the game, so it sets the tone for the NBA season. And he comes out and, all these guys look good. But I'm telling you, the difference for the Celtics, it was Jason Tatum. And
leading scorer.
Oh, man, he was the leading scorer. But, this is the guy that last year we didn't give enough credit to in that Rookie of the Year conversation because Ben Simmons had such a great year, because Donovan Mitchell had such a great year. But Jason Tatum is a great player. He is going to develop into a superstar in this league. And when you look back at that draft, Markelle Fultz was the number 1 draft pick. Markelle Fultz starts for the 76ers, and I think he ends up with like 5 points. He's 25 minutes, very ineffective. And, I mean, it's a little too early to say this, but being the number 1 draft pick that year, he could be a bust. And Jason Tatum, who goes 3rd overall, could be a absolute stud in this year for the next 15, or in this league for the next 15 years. So I'm looking at that, and the 76ers may have whiffed on that pick, and they had Jason Tatum right there in their grasp. If they would have that would have changed the whole landscape of this whole rivalry. And I'm telling you right now that Jason Tatum is going to impress us all year long. And with Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward both coming back off of injury, it's going to take them a little while to get back up to speed. You might wait 15, 20 games before you start seeing the performance from them. Now, Kyrie, he looked awful. I mean, he was 1 for 8 from three-point range, and he was just 4 for 12 from field goals with his field goals. I mean, he was just he looked off. You could tell he wasn't quite ready to be back into it, and maybe he's just rust he's got to work off, and that's great. Hayward, same thing. Hayward missed the entire season last year, bad ankle injury. I actually didn't have as much expectation from him as I did Kyrie Irving. But when you look at the Celtics team as a whole, they're so good at so many different places. I mean, we didn't even talk about Big Al Horford, who is just a great player that is always under the radar. He's always doing it over there. They got Morris coming off the bench that had a great game for him.
Loudbeard. That's Gator legend Al Horford to you, sir. Thank you. We'll continue.
I don't know who you're talking about, Gator legend. That's not even a thing, is it?
It's a thing.
Okay, whatever. But anyway, my point is the Celtics, we didn't give them enough credit for how deep they are, and the Sixers are going to be good. Don't worry about the Sixers. This is just one game. They're going to have a great year also, but I was impressed by the Celtics, and I think the Celtics are going to come out hot this year. Just if I gauge it by this one game, which is a terrible thing to do, and it's bad analysis, but that's what sports talking heads do, like ourselves.
You always overanalyze and overrate the first game of the season and predict the rest of it the rest of the way.
Boston's going to be undefeated, obviously, by this one game.
Undefeated. Sixers are probably going to get the first pick overall.
Yeah, that's all that's going to happen. That's the first game.
No,
anything else on this game?
You're completely right about the depth, man. 44 points from the bench. Terry Rozier 11, Marcus Morris 16. 44 total points, like I said. Where the Sixers, they had 24 points or 26 points, and 16 of those points came from J.J. Redick. The Sixers need a lot more help from their bench. You can't. Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, as good as they are, they're not at that level of LeBron James or why can't I think of his name? The beard, your beard guy.
James Harden.
Sorry, for some reason this hump day, my brain's not completely on all cylinders. I'm trying to get some caffeine in me.
Your brain is basically a bowl of goulash right now.
It is a bowl of goulash, but yeah, so they're not elite enough to where they can score 60 points combined and win the game without their bench. They're going to need a lot more help from those guys on the bench. JJ did all he could. That's the 16 points from a bench player is about as much as you can ask for. It's worth its weight in gold. So good on J.J. Redick, former Magic legend, that is J.J. Redick. But, yeah, you're right about the Celtics, man. Deep, deep, deep. And if Kyrie and Hayward were to have not been rusty, like you said, Hayward 4 of 12, Kyrie Irving 2 of 14, those guys would have gone off for 20 points each. This would have been a very ugly, ugly game.
Oh, yeah, I think I gave Kyrie too much credit. I said 4 of 12. He was 2 of 14. 2 of 14.
Yeah, he was 2 of 14.
2 of 14.
You mixed his stats up with Hayward's stats. It's okay.
Yeah,
it's better than not getting James Harden's name.
Right. Well, the Hayward stats aren't great, but they're not terrible. And he had his ankle turned around backwards last year. I give him complete credit for that. Kyrie Irving, he had I don't even know what his injury was because every year he's got several injuries, and whatever they are.
It was a knee surgery. Come on, man. Give the guy some credit. Why are you always hating on Kyrie Irving? You hate on Kyrie
I don't
more
have
than
a lot
I hate
of
on
respect for
LeBron.
him. Hey, why don't you take a look at Kyrie's stats and tell me how great he played last night?
I took a look at LeBron's stats. He had 0 points. Boom.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? He still had a better game than Kyrie.
He probably did.
Yeah, I mean, this is I don't know why. Kyrie does have some greatness in him. I'm not a big fan. I mean, what does he do this offseason? He's like, well, I guess it was probably more. I don't even know when this recorded, but he does a movie, Uncle Drew. Like, you're not good enough and you don't play enough because you're hurt all the time to be coming out with big movies. Yeah, I gave Shaq credit because Shaq could do all of that. Shaq is one of my idols. He's a man. He's like a comedian. He's a rapper. He's a basketball player. He's like the greatest ever, and he can do that. Kyrie, you're not Shaq. Stop pretending like you're Shaq. You're not Shaq. I know you. You needed to get in there and stop being hurt all the time and actually play. That's what I want to see out of you, Kyrie. And I don't see that out of you. You're going to have some sort of like muscle soreness, and by the fifth game of the season, you're going to already be like, oh, I need to take a rest day. This is what I expect out of Kyrie. So that's my problem with the Celtics. Everything else about the Celtics is awesome. They have a great coach. They have great depth. They have young talent. Scary Terry is a fun player to watch. Actually, if Kyrie gets hurt and Scary Terry Rozier comes in, they're going to be just as good, if not better. And that's okay because their Celtics are built to continue to keep winning even if they lose guys. They're prepared for that, and that's that depth that we talked about. The Sixers aren't. The Sixers need every bit of their superstars to be ready to play every game. And Embiid's got a injury history, so if any of those guys go out, the Sixers are going to have a tough sledding. The Celtics are built, man. They're built to last. They're built. If they have any injuries, it will not affect them because they are a whole team that is just from the amount of depth and just the talent on that team and the teamwork and how that coach, Brad Stevens, coaches them up. I'm excited about what the Celtics can bring. And the East may not be as bad as we thought, Chris America, just by game one.
Let's not look. Okay, I'll take overreaction.
Now am I getting a little crazy? Overreaction.
I'll take overreaction day after
Wacky
the first day, Wacky Wednesday. I'm looking at the slate for tonight, and we gave praise to the NBA for day one, night one of the NBA season, and they followed up with kind of a pooper. It's not that good. You have Dallas Phoenix, put me to sleep. Denver, Los Angeles Clippers, that could be a good game. That could be a solid 4 versus 5 playoff game right there. Jazz, Sacramento, no. Minnesota, San Antonio, I think that would be the one game I would want to watch just to see what's going on with Butler, how that team functions, and is San Antonio good without Kyrie, Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi?
Yeah, San Antonio is going to be awesome without Kyrie. Kawhi?
Yeah,
Kawhi.
Kawhi Irving. Yeah, we finally don't have any of the superstars left on that San Antonio Spurs team, the team that won their last championship. So let's see what we got over there, man.
Well, and LaMarcus Aldridge had come in late, a couple years back. We don't have the big names, the Manu Ginobili's and the Tony Parkers and the Tim Duncans. That era is gone.
Yep.
Can these guys bring it in with the new era? LaMarcus Aldridge had a great year last year. I'm expecting him to have another solid campaign. And then we've got DeMar DeRozan, who came over from Toronto, who he's been quite the scorer his whole career. So now we got to get to see what Pop can do with him. And with Popovich being the great coach that he is, he can maybe develop DeMar DeRozan even further. And we could see more out of this guy. So I don't expect San Antonio to just roll over and get run over here in the West Coast or in the Western Conference. I believe that San Antonio is going to be competitive. Now, competitive in the West Coast, if that means the 7th seed when it comes to playoff time, I would say that that's a good season for San Antonio. They may not think that because they have high expectations because they had the great Tim Duncan for so many years and they have the great Greg Popovich as their coach. But the expectations to me in the Western Conference is if they can make the playoffs, that's a good year for San Antonio, and I think they will. I think they're going to sit around that 6th, 7th, maybe 8th seed because it is a competitive conference. But I have high expectations, and I want to see what San Antonio can bring. So, yeah, that'll be a good one. And like you said, Jimmy Butler, that saga continues. We don't know where he's going to get traded. They say they're still trying to trade him, but we don't know if that's true. So let's see, does Jimmy Butler come out with some heart, or does he come out and just look flat?
Well, I think the standard for San Antonio for the last 18 years has been 50 wins. They have that streak going on for 18 or 19 seasons. Loudbeard, forget what seed or will they make the playoffs. I want to know, is your bold prediction that Greg Popovich can get the San Antonio Spurs to another season of 50 wins this year?
Yeah, I'm gonna say yes, but it's gonna be 50 flat. Like they're not getting
right at 50,
58 or 62 or 64. Right. They're getting like 50, maybe 51. So I wouldn't be surprised at 49 or 48 either. But I'm gonna err on the side of Greg Popovich can get these guys up, man. And I'm gonna say that they get exactly 50 even.
So you think the last week or 2 weeks of the season, we're going to be sitting there watching the Spurs like, can they do it? They're at 47 wins. Can they get it off?
Yeah, they're going to the last game of the year will be like against Golden State, and they're going to be resting all their starters, and we're going to see these guys that were like undrafted rookies out there, like, and we're going to be like, yeah, they did it. It was a great win. The Spurs get 50 wins.
They're going
to be like, well, who did they play? Like,
who shot that 3-pointer for the Warriors? Oh, that's Carl. He's the popcorn sales guy.
Yes. We brought in a guy from the ticket sales booth. We have the guy that's walking down the aisles yelling, who wants their popcorn? We got all those guys, and they're coming out and they're playing for the Warriors. And, yes, the Spurs will get their 50th win off of Carl.
I like it. Good job, Carl.
Man, he's always there when we need him to, man. Carl, he shows up.
Carl's the best.
All right.
Our Magic take on the Heat tonight. I just want to see some life. I want to see, some exciting plays. Last year, we had a hot 10 games. We got all excited. I think we started the season off 7-3. And you and me, Loudbeard, we lived it to the fullest. I'm hoping for 2 weeks this time. 20 days. No, forget 2 weeks. I want 20 days, Loudbeard. We had 10 last year. I want 20 days or 20 games where we get, I don't know, maybe a 16-4 record, and then we can implode.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see some of the youth on the Orlando Magic come out and make some noise right off the bat. That would be awesome. I mean, we've got Jonathan Isaac, who was our early draft pick the previous year, and this year we got Mo Bamba coming in. These guys are just super athletic, tall. They can run the court. They've got a lot of talent. The only problem is Jonathan Isaac is like the Kyrie Irving of the Orlando Magic. He just can't stay on the court and help his team out. I think it's because he played at Florida State. They didn't teach him to be tough enough. It's kind of a Florida State thing. But, I'm hoping that the Magic come out and they come out hot.
Yeah,
Go
same
Magic.
here. And the only other game I'd kind of be looking to see what's going on is Toronto versus Cleveland. Just because I want to see what life after LeBron is like for the second time. Last time, they completely imploded. They became a perennial, cellar dweller. They ended up with 3 number 1 overall picks because of it. Will the Cleveland Cavaliers be better this time? Are they going to be a low lottery team, a high lottery team, or can this Cleveland Cavaliers team actually make the playoffs? They got a tough slate against Toronto, though. Toronto's a good team. A lot of people think they're the best. They're definitely top 3 in the East, so let's see how that works out.
Yeah, the part that I'm excited about on this game is watching Toronto with Kawhi. I want to see how Kawhi comes out. I think Kawhi's motivated to have a great year because after this year, he's going to be a free agent. He wants to make that money. He may stay in Toronto. That's my bold prediction that a lot of people think he's going to go off to L.A. or go somewhere crazy. I think Kawhi is loving Toronto. I think he'll love his teammates. He'll love this team. He's going to come out, be motivated, and they're going to have a phenomenal year. And I want to see that in Game 1 because I want to overreact to Game 1. So we have plenty to talk about tomorrow, and that's what I want to see out of Toronto. And we talked about all the games coming up tonight. We didn't even really talk about this Golden State-Oklahoma City game that happened last night.
That's because it was just your typical Golden State game. That's what's sad about Golden State is when they win, it's like, okay, guess what? Golden State won again. Curry went off. Yeah, he scored a bunch of points. Ho-hum. Like, it's not exciting anymore, man. I get it. It's not fair to the Warrior fans. It's not fair to other NBA fans that want to talk about it. But, I mean, if you can get me excited about it, you go for it.
All right. Well, I mean, you kind of set me up for failure with that introduction there. I appreciate that, I guess.
Well, I mean, you brought us down with all those deaths yesterday, and we still recovered, so you got this.
All right. So, you know what? This is exactly the game we thought it would be with Golden State winning. Like Chris America said, we're used to Golden State winning. Oklahoma City, unfortunately, their superstar Russell Westbrook was out. Paul George had to carry the lion's share of the offensive load, and you could tell that the Oklahoma City Thunder struggled to find scoring. Paul George was kind of their main guy to go to, and it just wasn't enough against this juggernaut known as Golden State. All right, so it looks like Chris America is going to be withdrawing from the scout team so that he can practice and train and get himself ready for the ESPN draft. We'll talk about that next after a quick commercial break.
When I'm working hard, I build up a thirst for sports. That's when I grab a cold 12-ounce sports radio. Ah, 12-ounce sports radio. Quench your sports thirst.
Oh, guess who it is? Did you know the station had a janitor? Oh yeah, the Jefe, otherwise known as Beck. And it's Beck's Work Week in Review live on 12-Ounce Sports Radio every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Catch interviews, special guests, and the recap of the week's news and headlines and box scores and results. It's Beck's Work Week in Review live on 12-Ounce Sports Radio.
Scout Team listeners and friends of the show, I've got something special for you. It looks like 12-Ounce Sports Radio has done it again. We have partnered with Rally House. You just go to the website, 12ozsportsradio.com. Click on the banner on the right side of the page, and it will take you directly to Rally House. Rally House has some of the greatest, most unique sports items for that diehard fan, casual fan, and anybody and everybody out there that is special in your life. So go ahead and check it out. Once again, go to that website, 12ozsportsradio.com. Click on the banner to the right of the page, and you will get taken to the best sports merchandise website on all of the interweb. Do you own a small business? Are you looking for solutions to all of your communications, problems, and challenges that you have? Check out Ring Central. Give them a call. They have partnered with 12ouncesportsradio.com to give you the best rates on all of your business and office solutions for communication. Give them a call today. We have a dedicated line for all of the 12-ounce sports radio listeners. It is 1-877-779-3860. You will get a representative on the phone who will help you with all of your small business communications needs. Once again, give them a call today, 1-877-779-3860. Yeah, we're back with the Scout Team, bringing you Scout Team Sports. He's Chris America. I'm Loudbeard, and we love being on the airwaves. We come on every weekday, Monday through Friday. Our show airs at 6 a.m. and again at 11 a.m. on 12ouncesportsradio.com. We are also on our podcasts, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, or our website, Scout Team Radio. You can go back and check out all the old episodes and listen to all the greatness that we now call the Scout Team. Yeah, that's right. It is Wednesday. The 12-ounce sports radio schedule ahead of us is looking awesome. We've got a ton of great stuff coming up here on on the radio station. We've got Memphis Spence with College Credit Hour coming on at noon. Later in the day, Wednesdays, you got We Talk Sports Good at 9:30. We usually have Scout Team After Dark. We're trying to work out some details because we've got some scheduling conflicts coming up. So we may or may not be recording tonight. I did hear the Golden Ghost say that he was willing to do a one-man show if Chris America and Loudbeard couldn't make it. That would be awesome, and I encourage him to do that. But do not get your hopes up, fans. The Golden Ghost is very mysterious. He might have a haunting that he has to go do at any time, so you may not expect him to be on the airwaves. If not, we're going to give a hot replay. It's worth a listen either way. So Wednesday night, Scout Team After Dark comes on at 7:30 p.m. Give it a listen. Give it a try. Hey, Chris America, I got some good news for you, man.
What's that?
I don't know if you heard this or not. I guess it's not good news. I'm gonna hype this in a different way. I'm spinning this. I'm a spinster today. So, last night there was a sighting at a local sports bar. You and I have been talking about paying off this romper bet, and I'm telling you, we should have done it last night. In our neck of the woods, there is an ale house that is about 10 minutes from my house.
Yeah, I
and
saw
guess
this.
guess who showed up at Ale House last night out of the blue?
The notorious one.
The notorious one, Conor McGregor, just shows up at an ale house 10 minutes from Loudbeard's house. My romper was hanging up in my closet. I bet on him. I would have liked to have discussed with him why he allowed me to wear a romper for a second time, but the opportunity, it missed us, and it barely missed us. We've got a UFC gym right around the corner from here. I don't know if he was planning on hanging out there today. Ronda Rousey's been spotted there numerous times. I know some of the big UFC players sometimes show up and support that UFC gym that's locally. He is also on a tour supporting his whiskey. So a lot of people were speculating, this has not been confirmed, that he was going around supporting his whiskey. So maybe at this local sports bar, he was out there telling everybody to take shots of this great whiskey that he's selling. I don't know what it was, but I mean, I feel like it was fate. I feel like he's in town to watch the romper and we let him down. And maybe it's me. Maybe I let him down. But Conor McGregor hanging out with the scout team, that sounds like a match in heaven. Or maybe, this is my third theory, Chris America. My third theory is he heard you talking crap about him, and he wants to confront you. So this is what I think is going to happen. You're going to get confronted by Conor McGregor. Good luck today, sir.
Yeah, and it looks like in the background, at first I thought it was fake. I thought it was like a guy in a Halloween costume because the picture shown here also has a guy that looks a little bit like Khabib. So I thought maybe it was two guys like, hey, you go as Conor and I'll go as Khabib and we can, it's Halloween type deal. But kind of behind is a guy that looks a little bit like Dana White as well. And you mentioned it, and I think there's Mike Bianchi there too. So I'll have to listen to the open mic today to see if that's him there as well. But it's definitely Conor McGregor. It is crazy to see that the $100 million man can sometimes go down to the people and hang out and have a few beers. I like seeing that. That actually makes me like Conor a little bit more than I did. I used to dislike Conor. I dislike the person he became, the money grabber, the highfalutin, I'm just in it for the money athlete that he's become. But that makes me like him a little bit more, that he's coming down to the Oviedo people and hanging out and having a few brewskis or a few whiskeys or whatever he was drinking last night.
Yeah, I mean, that was cool. I wish I would have been there. I wish I would have known. I woke up this morning. My daughter was like, hey, did you hear Conor was hanging out in the neighborhood? And I'm like, what? How did I not know about this? What happened? Where did my memo go? Why did I not get any of this information? It just, I mean, it's awesome. I love to hear that he's just going around, hanging out, having a good time. People were taking pictures with him. He looked like he was being just a regular guy, hanging out, having a good time, smiling. He didn't look like he was annoyed. He looked like he was ready to just hang out with people, man. And I like that. It makes him a little bit more of a person and less of just a jerk.
And for our listeners, this isn't in Orlando. Oviedo is like a suburban. It's kind of like where suburbia meets rural area. There's still a lot of farms and stuff. There are chickens in downtown Oviedo that just kind of wander around. This is off the beaten path. It's about 30 to 40 minutes, depending on traffic, from downtown Orlando. And Ale House is just your typical restaurant sports bar. It's nothing like fancy. It's not. They're not serving up anything great there. You're not going to get like a lean steak. There's not a Michelin chef. It's just your typical. It's not a hole in the wall. It's just your typical family restaurant sports bar. And it's great that he got off the beaten path, that he's not in downtown Orlando at some fancy club partying with, high-class models and stuff like that. He's basically in a town that's where suburbia meets farmland.
Yeah, I mean, the ale house that he was hanging out sits right there next to a driving range, golf driving range, and a sod farm. Like,
Yeah.
This isn't like downtown Orlando. This is a little bit off the beaten path. And that chicken thing, that is like a legend in this city. Like, they have chickens everywhere. People it's like in India with cows. You don't run them over. They're sacred.
Yeah,
in Oviedo, the chickens
if
are
they're in
sacred.
the street, you just stop your car and wait.
Yes, this is exactly what you do, and this is where Conor McGregor was hanging out. So he's a man of the people, and I've always liked Conor McGregor, and I was disappointed that he has had a couple losses, but he has gotten back on my good side. And even though I've lost a couple romper bets because of him, he is a great man, and I'm glad to see he's a man of the people. He's not like these other schmoes. Go Conor. Go Notorious One. Thank you, sir.
Let's get him back in the ring and get to it again. Let's see if he can work his way back into the graces of winning ship, because he's on a losing streak right now.
Well, I mean, I think we're going to see that Khabib-Mayweather fight first, right?
Oh, God, I hope not. Why are we still doing this? Stop it, UFC. Stop.
For our listeners, Khabib called out Mayweather for a super fight. I don't think it'll actually happen, but yeah, that's a thing. It's a thing right now.
This would be worse than Conor, because at least Conor was a striker. You knew he was an elite striker, so you thought maybe there was a puncher's chance. With Khabib, his strength is always wrestling and judo and just that ground and pound type style fighting. There's no way he's going to stand, and there's no way that a boxer is going to go into a UFC ring and even withstand 20 seconds against an elite wrestler like Khabib. So it would just be the dumbest fight ever.
That it would be. All right, well, we'll move on from our UFC talk, because I teased a little bit about you stepping away, withdrawing from the scout team so that you could train, so you don't injure your vocal cords, and you can get ready for the big ESPN draft. And I say that all in jest, because Nick Bosa is coming out with some hot news, withdrawing from Ohio State so he can get ready. And Chris America, I just want to get your hot take on this subject that's going on right now.
That's the craziest thing about last night is prior to last night, Nick Bosa stepping away was the biggest story. I was like, man, we got to talk about this. This definitely has to be something we bring up. And then I sat there and I watched a night of great sports that I just completely forgot about it. That's what I love about, October, November, is if this was in the summer, I would have not forgotten about this story. This would have been the hot topic. It would have been the leading thing that we talk about. But it's October, man. We have football, basketball, baseball, hockey. It's the best. So, yes, Nick Bosa stepping away makes complete sense, and it's going to be the norm from here on out with these athletes that know for a fact that they're a top 5 pick, and you can't blame them. This relationship between a student athlete and a school is one that of need. When the need for the other disappears, so does the relationship. So if Nick Bosa came out and just stunk up a storm or got injured or whatever, Ohio State would move on. Ohio State wouldn't care. What did we see with Kelly Bryant at Clemson? Clemson loved Kelly Bryant, and then they found another player, so the need for Kelly Bryant disappeared, so did Kelly Bryant. He was no longer needed by the team. And Kelly Bryant, his need for Clemson disappeared, so now he's transferring. We're seeing that now with Bosa, and I think we're going to see it more and more. It started off with players missing bowl games, and now it's crept up into the season, but it's not like he's healthy and he decided to quit. Nick Bosa is injured and is currently rehabbing an injury, and I think he's like, you know what, let's just shut it down. I don't want the coaches and staff thinking I'm coming back anytime soon. So I think it was good that he at least gave Ohio State the heads up, like, hey, just so you know, I know you're thinking I'm going to come back soon, or you have my comeback date and this is when you're preparing for me to come back. I just want you to know I'm going to shut it down. I'm just going to focus on rehab and everything else. So what do you think, Loudbeard?
I mean, you can't blame the kid. I know when Andrew Luck decided to stay in college, he actually had to take out an insurance policy because if something were to happen where he got a devastating injury and could never play NFL, like he was going to be missing at least like $50 million, on his first contract.
Yeah.
Like we're talking about insane money here, and this guy is basically right now guaranteed to be a top 5 player, whether he plays or not. I think the same thing happened with Jadeveon Clowney. His last year with South Carolina, he got injured, and then he was like not wanting to be out and playing. And I know Spurrier gave him a hard time and said he didn't put the effort forth. The guy didn't want to get hurt. Like he knew he was already good enough to make it into the NFL, and he was good enough to be a top 5 draft pick. And so he kind of like backed off and kind of like nursed an injury a lot longer than he should have, just so he didn't play. And he probably should have just withdrawn at that point. Why would it have mattered? And now Nick Bosa, Joey Bosa's brother, is doing the same thing. I mean, his dad played in the NFL, his brother plays in the NFL. He's got the pedigree, he's got the skill, he's an amazing athlete. He doesn't need to show anything else on the college level. He needs to just start getting ready for the NFL, and that's what he's doing. And no matter what he does now in college football, all it could do is hurt him. If he goes out there and he has 3 or 4 bad games, all of a sudden he might drop to be a 10th or 15th pick instead of a top 5 pick. There's nothing that playing right now in college football can do to help him. So he just needs to step back. It's only a few more games. I hate saying that. It's only it's not that many games left. He might as well just step back and get ready for the draft. I can't blame the guy. And I think the system's more the problem. But, hey, you do you. It's like you just go do it, man. I love it.
Yeah. People say, oh, you're obligated to the team. You're leaving your teammates. But, again, your teammates' relationship with you is the same thing. It's just based on need. If I no longer need you, then I move on with the team. And that's understandable too. Nobody's saying that that's wrong. That's just the way sports is. And college football is going to be this way until they figure out a way to give these top echelon athletes more incentive to want to show up. I can't blame a guy who says, you know what, I have the rest of my life to get the rest of my college education. I only get one shot at this multi-million-dollar career. And one of my favorite takes from yesterday about this was our boy Reflog McNeil. He says, I can't read today. So my inebriated and unemployed ex-brother-in-law has at least 12 kids by multiple mothers scattered across southern Ohio, but the Bosa family can only give us 2.
I like it.
Yeah, if I could read, it would have been a lot better, but
yeah, I think
hard.
you're inebriated. I could tell by how you're reading.
Hooked on phonics did not work for me.
Hey, you know what? I just got to throw another quick story out here for you. I don't want to get your quick hot take. I'm not sure if you had an opportunity to see this, but the Lane train, he's coming in hot. Lane Kiffin has reportedly, I haven't been able to confirm this with my sources yet, but I'm just going to throw it out early. He reportedly is offering a scholarship to FAU to Matt Leinert's son. So I don't know if you know this or not, but Matt Leinert's son is only 11 years old.
I thought you were going to say 4.
He's 11. 11 years old.
This is not new to Lane Kiffin. I think even back when he was at Tennessee, he was offering kids that were 12, 13, middle school age kids, and this is getting disgusting. Saban's done the same thing. We've seen this a lot. There needs to be a stoppage to this. We have to let these kids at least live some sort of normal life before they're bombarded with coaches offering them things. Now, with Leinert's son, this is a little bit more understandable because there's history between Matt Leinart and Lane Kiffin. That was Matt Leinert's offensive coordinator when he was at USC. So this is a little bit more excusable because it's kind of like hey, even if your son sucks, he's got a place here with FAU. We'll figure it out. And we'll probably not give him a scholarship because you can afford to have him go to school and be on the team, and we kind of need that scholarship for players who are good. But just so you know, Maddie, he's welcomed here at FAU.
I like it in the fact that Lane Kiffin, he's doing everything he can to make FAU a good program. He is fighting, and they are better, man. This is a program that was nothing, and he's turning them into something. And just having the idea that Matt Leinart will be around at practices once his son is of age, like even if he's not great, if he's a third string guy, you're bringing in names that, like, when you're starting to do your recruiting, you're like, hey, Matt Leinart's going to be at the practice field with us hanging out because that's how we roll at FAU. This is a big program. We're trying to make big names here. Big things happen. I kind of like it. I just don't like the age that it's happening. Like, he could have waited till Matt Leinart's son was like 16 and then done this, but whatever.
I mean, my question is, do you even think Lane Kiffin will be at FAU in 7 years?
I actually hope he will be. I really do.
I mean, if he's really turning it around like you say he is, there's no way he stays at FAU for 7 years. Like, if he's still at FAU in 7 years from now, it means he's not doing as good as we want him to be doing. I mean, right now they're 3-3. Two of those losses though came to Oklahoma and national championship defending team UCF. So you kind of understand those two losses, but then he followed up UCF with a 25-24 loss to Middle Tennessee State. So I don't know. Obviously his scholarship offer will probably be, okay, well now I'm at, I don't know, Vanderbilt or something. You can come there.
Yeah, see, I was thinking of it as a different perspective. I kind of think of it like with Charlie Strong at USF, with I'm trying to think of other great examples here, where it's a coach that has failed at one of these big SEC schools or big program schools like a Big Ten school that have come and they say, you know what, this small school atmosphere, they're never going to want to get rid of me because I'm probably the biggest fish that they've ever had here at this program, and I want to build it. I want this to be my team forever. Like, this is their permanent home. And that's what I feel like. I don't think he wants to jump into all that mess at one of these other schools personally, but I don't know. I don't know if that's the case or not.
I don't think he'll jump to that's why I gave Vanderbilt as an example, because it's still a bigger school with higher pay and a bigger conference, but nobody at Vanderbilt's going to expect him to win at anything other than just maybe beat Florida every once in a while, you beat Tennessee every once in a while, and we're good with that. That kind of school. And USF is definitely a lot higher up the food chain than FAU is. I mean,
Yeah,
Charlie
you're
Strong
right.
has the opportunity to lead USF into a Big 12 type scenario with UCF. So, and I honestly kind of saw UCF hiring Lane Kiffin last year when they were looking for a new coach. Nobody really had that on their radar, but I was like, I wouldn't be surprised. And I could see Lane Kiffin going into UCF and making that his like George O'Leary move. Like, okay, this is a solid small school. It's a school that I can win at. But like you said, before all of this happened, UCF wasn't a school that expected you to win every year, go undefeated. But there are expectations at UCF even before this season, and that's to win your conference and win 9 to 10 games, which I think Lane Kiffin could easily do at UCF.
Yeah, I think so too. Lane is a good coach. He's gotten some crap because he is kind of a crazy guy. But, yeah, he's a good coach overall.
He's entertaining.
He is entertaining. I like him. We only got a couple minutes left. I could go a couple different directions here. Do you have anything you want to talk about for the last 2 minutes of the show?
Well, I want to talk hockey, and I want to give it more than just 2 minutes, but I watched our Lightning last night, and they looked good. They went up against a top team in Carolina Hurricanes. Carolina's the top team in their Eastern Division, the Metropolitan Division. They're the top team in the Metropolitan Division. Tampa Bay right now, they would probably be in first, but the way hockey works is it's a point system. And Tampa's only played 4 games and they're 3-1, so they only have, I think it's 9 points. No, that's 6 points. Whereas Toronto's played 7 games, Toronto's 6-1, they have 12 points. So Tampa is right up there with Toronto and Boston, and they look good, man. I feel like this could be Tampa's year. Each year, the last 2 years, they've lost to the team that eventually went on to win the Stanley Cup. They lost to Pittsburgh 2 years ago in the Eastern Conference Finals, and then they had the Stanley Cup champs Washington on the ropes. They had them right where they wanted to, and they just got completely shut out the last 2 games. They were up 3-2, and they just fell apart, by the eventual Stanley Cup champions. But I think this is their year, man. I think Tampa's going to finally bring it home.
Yeah, I'd love to see Tampa win. Now that the Washington Capitals went ahead and got it out of the way, now I don't have to be so Capital centric with my fandom. Now I can go back to being a big Tampa Bay Lightning homer and hope that this is the year for Tampa Bay. I'd love to see that. They're close to home here for us. I lived in the Tampa area for several years. When I say several, basically my entire childhood. Big Lightning fan. I love what they're doing. They have some stars on that team. This should be a great year for Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I agree, and not a good year, and this is what we can talk about tomorrow, is the Detroit Red Wings. I've been watching a lot of their games lately because Miss America is from Detroit, and she loves the Red Wings. They are awful, and something I want to talk to you about tomorrow, Loudbeard, is teams that were really good in the 90s. I mean, just always on top, are complete trash now. Which teams do you think those are, from that time period? And also, I want to kind of give some bold predictions as to which teams that are really good right now could be complete trash in 10 or 15 years.
All right, stay tuned tomorrow for the big segment where we talk about the 90s and how Michael Jordan is awesome.
Better than the King.
Yeah, he is. I can't argue with that.
You can't argue.
MJ,
And that's not
MJ
hating.
for
That's
life.
just truth.
It's truth. Yeah, that's facts. Facts.
We could also talk about the Mighty Ducks movies.
Oh, I love those. So good.
Those dominated the 90s.